My first guest this evening is one of only two Jewish members of the Republican caucus in the House of Representatives. And he's introduced a resolution condemning the recent rise of anti-Semitism that's in the wake of the October 7th attacks on Israel. Sadly, many Democrats in the House couldn't vote for a simple resolution that condemns hatred toward Jewish people. But Representative Kustoff isn't stopping there. He's also introduced a bill that removes the tax exemption status of any nonprofit organization that financially supports terror. And that bill has thankfully passed the Ways and Means Committee. Good news, at least. Representing Tennessee's 8th Congressional District, I want you to welcome back to the show one of our very favorites, Representative David Kustoff. Congressman, good to have you back.
Thank you very much. Thanks for having me.
You know, as a member of Congress, but also as one of the few Jewish members of the Republican caucus, and quite frankly, one of the few Jewish members of Congress, period, this has to be an unsettling time when you see people out marching in the streets supporting Hamas and what happened on October the 7th. I can't even imagine it.
Governor, you think about how the world has changed in more than 60 days. People went to bed on October the 7th and woke up in a completely different state of mind and fear on October the 7th as the Middle East started to unravel. And I thought, and a lot of my cohorts do, that we've got to send a strong signal, our government, our nation, that we've got to be there to support our greatest ally in the Middle East, and that's Israel. We've got to be there for Israel and stand with a strong voice. You know, you mentioned that recently I had sponsored, along with Max Miller, who's the other Jewish House Republican, a strong resolution absolutely condemning anti-Semitism, showing our support for Israel. Good news, bad news. Good news is, out of 435 members, 311 voted yes. Now, the bad news is 14 voted no. And Governor, 92 voted present. And in my opinion, if you vote present, you're voting no. But we wanted to send that signal not only to the nation, but to the world and those in Israel and those in the Middle East, that the U.S. will not abandon our greatest ally in the Middle East, and that's Israel.
And I'm glad that you guys did that. And I want to be fair, because there were obviously a lot of Democrats who voted with you in the resolution. And there are a lot of Democrats who have been very outspoken against the anti-Semitism that we see. And even it's caused a rift in the Democrat caucus. You've got the people out there on the loony left, like Rashida Tlaib and Ilhan Omar, some of the members of the so-called squads are saying crazy things. I mean, insane things.
There are a number of Democrats, a large number, who feel strongly, who are fully supportive of Israel. But you do have some of those that you mentioned that are completely on the other side, chant from the river to the sea, as we know that chant. By the way, this resolution condemned that phrase as well. But we've got to send the message out that we won't abandon Israel. A few months ago, I'm on the board of the National Holocaust Museum, and I took a group through the Holocaust Museum, obviously before October the 7th. And the Holocaust Museum, a lot of people here and those who are watching the show have been to the museum. A number of lessons. Number one, that we can't forget what happened in Nazi Germany and to Jews around the world. But the museum also serves as a reminder that this can never happen again.
Yeah.
And I bring that up because you have Jewish members in this country who heard the stories of the Holocaust from survivors, it may have been their parents, grandparents, great-grandparents. They never thought that they would see something like this in their lifetime, but they are.
They are.
And October the 7th is the deadliest day for Jews around the world since the Holocaust.
And we just can't be ambivalent about that. I want to also get to the point that Congress is in a real state of flux. I mean, it's the best way to say it. You've had an uprising with the Speaker. Now Kevin McCarthy is going to step down at the end of the year. The margin, with George Santos being escorted out the door, is now down to basically one member. I mean, it's kind of crunch time. If Republicans don't stay together and they start splitting, the Democrats could show up one day and take a vote and remove the speaker and elect their own guy. Do the Republican members who have been out there thinking they're all independent contractors, do they understand that?
You know, that's a great question. I think that some look like they look at Joe Manchin. They want to be a Joe Manchin in the House like he was 2 years ago. Fact of the matter is, before Kevin McCarthy was removed wrongly as the Speaker of the House, we had a thin margin. We were working together in unison. We have done a lot of good things. We've passed a very tough border bill, H.R. 2, which would secure the southern border. We recalled the money for the 80,000 IRS agents. We worked hard, and we were working on promoting and passing good conservative principles. But you're right, that margin is going to be really, really thin for the next few months until these other special elections. We've got to work together. We've got a really good man now as our Speaker of the House, Mike Johnson. He's conservative, he's smart, he's thoughtful, but he is the Speaker. And as Republicans, we've got to work with him. We've got to follow his lead. You know, we're the firewall. The Republican House is the firewall. You've got Joe Biden in the White House, I guess.
Yeah.
You've got Democrats controlling the Senate. We're stopping the crazy stuff from happening.
Yeah.
And so we've all got to be there. We've got to stay firm to our conservative ideals and our principles.
And I think a lot of people need to understand that with only a slim majority in the House and not having the Senate and not having the White House, there is a limit on what Republicans in the House can do. You can stop some things. You probably cannot get a lot of things passed because they'll either die in the Senate or get vetoed at the White House. So it's more of a defensive position that you're in until the next cycle of elections, and then hopefully we have a little more to work with.
Well, we also have oversight, and that's awfully important as we talk about what's going on at the border and the way that the Biden administration, Secretary Mayorkas, is not enforcing the existing laws and the policies to keep out the unlawfuls, the millions of people who have come into this country unlawfully. We've got that oversight power over all the Biden branches of government, and we'll continue to exercise that through the next election.
Speaking of oversight, there's going to be a real challenge with whether or not there will be a process to get further into what the Biden family has done, the millions of dollars that they've gotten from the Chinese Communist and other government. I mean, I think some people need to separate. There's a difference between an impeachment inquiry, which is very important and necessary, but not taking a vote on it, knowing that it would die in the Senate within 30 seconds of arrival. Do the House members, are they committed to getting to the truth and following it wherever it will lead? Good or bad?
Governor, I think the conservative members, the moderate members, the in-between members, they support an impeachment inquiry. And so we should see that vote soon. And that, to your point, that's the step that we've got to take before anything else happens.
Well, I hope that it will continue to be a source of intensity, and maybe at some point, even some Democrats will start saying, hey, we can't defend this. Congressman, I'm glad you're there. You're one of those folks that went there for the right reasons, and you've stayed true to your purpose. That makes you a rare jewel in Washington, and I thank you so much for the service you've rendered, not just to the people of Tennessee, but to all of America. Great to have you here again.
Well, Governor, you're an inspiration to me and so many in Congress, so we thank you very much.
Well, delighted to see you, and I'm sure we're going to have you back. Representative Kustoff is active on social media, so you can keep up with him and the great work he's doing in Washington. We have all the links to his efforts and to his websites at our website, Huckabee.tv. Go there. We'll connect you to the congressman. If you haven't subscribed to the channel yet, I hope you will now. The button is just below this video, and there's a little bell next to it. If you click on those, YouTube will reluctantly start letting you know when we've got a new video uploaded.